There are a few things I've learned on my journey, and these are some of them. 1, unless you know who you really are, the universe is going to keep chipping away and knocking away the layers of you that you think you are. It will strip you of everything. Because if you're not living authentically you, and you are a soul who is meant to, then it will keep stripping away those layers of you until you are left with nothing but yourself. And in that moment of surrendering to who you really are, what desires you really hold, it's just going to keep ripping things away from you. You're not meant to fight for those things. You are meant to surrender to the letting go of them. 2, the stories you hold about yourself are the stories that your family created for you. And a lot of times, those are stories they hold within themselves. This means that none of those stories may even belong to you. They belong to projections of themselves onto you. The beliefs you hold are the things they told you as children. And why did it hurt? Why did it feel uncomfortable? Because it wasn't true. This is different than being triggered. Why did it upset you? Because it didn't sit well in your innermost being. Because you knew yourself as other, but they would never see you as that. And that's a huge difference when family begins to see you for who you really are instead of consistently putting their projections onto you. Then that's when change happens. 3, even if you consistently tell yourself something, it's gonna eventually end up being true, but not because of your own perspective of the situation, because nobody can get inside your head, but because of what the others are hearing you say about yourself. My entire life, I didn't have a lot of extra money, but money was never a thing for me, but it was a thing for many people in my family and even my husband. I was told throughout my whole life that I never had money by them. When I went to go pay for something, they would often say, don't. You don't have any money. When I would want to take a trip, don't. You don't have any money. We'll pay for it. When I wanted to spoil them with gifts, don't. Shouldn't do that. You don't have any money. To the point that when I didn't have money, or the moments that I didn't have extra money to take care of things and my mom offered to help me out, suddenly it became the theme, the thread of the story of my life that I didn't have money or I never had money, which isn't true. I have always had money. I haven't had a lot of extra of it, but I have certainly had moments in my life where I made a lot of money. I was also living on my own by the time I was 19. I also lived in New York City for 10 years and I lived in Milan for almost 6. Both of those paid for by me. The work I did, the money I invested in myself, and me. I remember once going to a show in Toronto and offering to pay for my niece's coffee, and my older sister said, you don't have to pay for her coffee. You don't have any money to pay for her coffee. Those stories. And although they may have been done with good intention, the fact is, it's a story they consistently told themselves about me. And why? Because I didn't have the same dreams and desires of perhaps owning a home with 4 walls, or investing in a car, or because my desires involved travel and seeing the world and experiencing cultures and seeing the beauty of a mountain or the oceans. And a lot of times that happened with me on my own because I didn't have a partner that wanted to do those things with me. So again, the stories you tell yourself are going to be the stories that others repeat about you, and that will become their theme about you, because as you evolve and change, they won't see that. 4, what you make of your life is what you make of your life. You don't need 4 walls to be successful. You don't need 4 walls to say that you are a valued or worthy human being. What makes you a valuable and worthy human being is integrity, dignity, authenticity, and truth. That is it. How that expresses itself in your life is going to vary among individuals and among yourself. If you do not believe you are abundant with those riches, then how could you possibly be abundant in any other means? And money doesn't always mean abundance, because abundance comes in all ways, shapes, or forms. I was very abundant this summer. Who would not be abundant waking up under the stars, seeing a sunset every day reflect on the ocean or a lake. That to me is abundance. That made me feel whole, rich, and full of vitality. Something that money has never really given me. But that's a story that changes too. Unless you change your own money story and the relationship you have with it, and stop thinking in a lack mindset and creating that narrative for yourself that then others believe because they don't see your evolution, then they actually impose that narrative onto you, so it's a consistent theme. So while you are evolving, the shadows of that theme are echoing around you. Nothing's going to change. Unless, of course, you change that narrative. And then it's not even for them to change their narrative, because as long as you stand in your authenticity, truth, sincerity, genuineness, you are abundant. 5. We are taught as women that it's okay to be alone and single and independent. And yes, it is. It's quite possible to do all of those things on your own. But as the 4th youngest daughter, raised by a single mother, a household of 5 women, all extremely independent, independence doesn't necessarily always come from a place of strength, but of survival. And let me tell you something. I will state what I believe. Healing our father wound, or having a father or a masculine in your life, is important. Because when you are raised with the masculine in your home, it softens you. It allows you to be softer. If you are a woman who is constantly having to play the masculine and the feminine role in your own life and in your own household, you can't possibly soften. It's impossible. The softening comes with somebody removing some of that responsibility for you. And sometimes it's even just their presence. That masculine energy is enough to balance the feminine and the masculine in you. Because what it essentially is saying is, it's okay for you to be soft now. I'm here. I'm here as a voice, guide, presence, energy, whatever it is, but I am here. And that is going to balance out. That is, of course, if you understand the work in the process. Because if the relationship is toxic, that is not a healthy male-feminine energetic balance. What that is you, again, exercising independence in order to survive, meaning that you are playing the role of the masculine and the feminine, because now you are in a fight or flight response and you are in warrior mode, and warrior mode is a very masculine energy. Not to say that women can't be warriors, but it is a very masculine energy. And if there's one thing I've noticed with me being home, is that every little girl needs a father. A good father, because that is how she grows up soft. Strong, independent, with faith, trust, self-esteem, security, and feeling like she can accomplish anything. 6, we all need to heal our mother and father wounds, along with our own inner child, inner teen, and sibling wounds. And until you heal all of that, especially the wound of the parent who you feel has been the most absent, or the most cruel, or the most narcissistic, then the softening can't take place. The softening happens when we open our hearts to that change, that evolution, because everyone evolves. How they evolve is differently, but everyone evolves. So if you open your heart to the evolution of other people, this does not mean to say that the evolution is always good, but they also evolve. And once you open your heart to understanding and healing that, there's nothing in the world that's ever going to stop you. Now that healing comes from you, it doesn't come from them. It comes from you being triggered and investigating why. It comes from you digging really deep into all of those shadows that come through when you think about the parent that harmed you, or the person. In this case, I'm speaking of parents because I realize how important it is to have a male figure as a father in a home. And the only reason I have been able to heal my father wound is because I am here. And regardless what transpires, the words that are exchanged, that wound has been sealed. So there isn't much that can happen now that can damage me emotionally. And that, my dears, is how you know you've come through the other side.